What is up, guys? Welcome back to the Salt and Light Podcast, the number one podcast in Maine, in Portland,
the galaxy.
In the you always get mad at me for being too too broad. Nice. We were just talking about Star Wars, so that's probably where that came from. We're talking about Isaac's stuff that he's got on his desk right over
Isaac's affinity for those things, all Star Wars.
So
and
since,
Legos.
Since Isaac won't talk to us, shall we talk about him?
Yes.
For a while?
That'd be great.
All right.
His name's Isaac.
His name is Isaac.
Isaac is our wonderful.
He's got a different hat on today.
Wearing a hat.
I'm not sure what to do with that one.
He's a resident.
Yeah.
He has a resident
Been
technology resident.
there. A resident technology resident, yeah. A resident sandwich, if you will.
He eats resident sandwiches.
Yeah.
Any sandwich he would eat.
For lunch.
Yeah, I think
Breakfast.
I wouldn't put many other residents up against
Adam,
Isaac.
could you tell me about what we find on Adam's desk? I mean, on Isaac's desk there?
We find some Legos that we already talked about. There's a tackle
do
box.
that
The tackle. I want to know what's in the tackle box. Do you think it's fishing lures?
I'm kind of afraid of what is
I
in
think it's some
Isaac's tackle
more
box.
Star Wars.
It's just miscellaneous Legos.
I'd bet it's probably got a soldering kit in it. He doesn't
Let's
know.
open
It's a
it.
mystery.
Let's open it.
Isaac's
Come on.
a mute.
Yep.
Oh, hold on.
Do you have-
Here we go.
Do you have a drum roll button?
Am I authorized to do this?
Sorry that this is an audio-only podcast.
Yeah, I've got a blue tackle box here with what seems to
Be
be.
descriptive.
There's an inventory list on it. Wow. Now I'm going to ask Isaac. Isaac, did you make this tackle box up?
I did not.
Oh, Isaac
He
did
made
not.
the plastic, actually. He made the
No,
tackle box.
he made it out of a wow.
He melted down the plastic. He
He made it out of 3D printer. So we have a couple. What I hear
It's a
tech people
dongle
call
box.
dongles, which don't let your minds go there, folks. These are adapters that fit certain different devices that help other devices fit those devices through the dongle connection.
dongle box.
We were actually yesterday encouraging your wife, Keenan, to steal Isaac's dongle that he had on his computer because she needed one for charging.
Well, I would hope that Ashley would never.
She
steal
didn't do it,
Isaac's
but I was
dongle.
encouraging it either. Anyhow.
There's some USB lightning connectors. Oh, that one's that's neat. There's some batteries in here.
Hey, tell me when you're done with that.
So what you're saying
yeah,
is
I'm pretty
that
much done. Wow, that's a nice
pretty
one.
useful tackle box.
I think I authorized this one from Dan. That's a
So
neat one.
So when you're planning on doing something, you need to have the right equipment for it, right?
Yeah, so tell me about this though. Does that really work?
Keenan ruined where I was going.
It's an HDMI to an RGB.
Nope.
Yeah,
RGB is red, green, and blue.
that's what that connector is. That's an
listener-
RGB input.
This is listener caviar right now.
Yeah, this is great. So I didn't know you could do something like that. But anyway, so this is all really irrelevant.
VGA?
Other than it's our buddy here, Isaac's technological tackle box that probably once deployed solves a lot of issues.
A tackle box.
A tackle box.
That
That's
one
it.
was served up to me.
Adam's a minutia critic.
That one
like
was
it.
like
Let's find
T-ball. That was just sitting there for me.
So I want
So
to introduce our new segment, Listener's Corner. And I was just speaking to one of our avid listeners, and you know what he does? So we want to hear from our listeners how they listen to this outrageously popular podcast.
That's true.
He goes and gets himself a beverage, and he sits out in his back deck on his hammock. Our listener is Tom, by the way.
Oh,
and,
yes.
And enjoys
He
his
emailed
listening
me, too.
experience on his hammock right now.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. He
Now, why
emailed
would
me.
Tom ruin his nice, quiet moment on a hammock by listening to us?
Well, I have to believe is enhanced.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tell us how you're listening by emailing me at adam@eastpoint.church.
Yeah, send
love to
Adam an
know.
email.
That's Listener's Corner for this week.
That's wonderful.
That was a short segment.
This this segment's actually sponsored this time by two different partners.
Oh, we have a sponsor?
Well, it's Hannaford branded seltzer and
well,
Sam's
they're not
Club members
sponsoring
mark water. And when I say sponsored, no sponsorship whatsoever.
We're
It's just-
sponsoring them.
yeah, it just happens to be the fluids we have in here.
Speaking of that, I'm here to fulfill your needs, Adam, and we have a way to be in seltzer water continually.
Is there more of that?
Well,
can I leave and go get one?
there is more of that, and I'm going to tell you how we'll have it in perpetuity.
Thanks, Isaac, for emailing me. Isaac is welcome back to the segment Listener's Corner. Isaac Nutter is listening in the room. Anyways,
the residents in the room.
Nice. Switch keys a little bit.
Yeah, sorry.
Anyways, go back to your seltzer. I'm very interested.
Yeah, no. I'll get with you after because there's
Listener's Corner segment part 2 is over.
Yeah, it is over. But producer segment, satisfied palate. That's yet to be.
We don't need a segment for every
part. We don't. We'll take care of you with that.
Well, I wanted to talk about our apparel segment. Adam, where do you get a T-shirt like that?
Rennie's.
Yes, I was there yesterday. Is that a J. Crew? Or is that the Rennie's version?
Comfort Colors.
That's Comfort Colors?
Yeah.
Man, I love the pocket tees.
Yes.
Are they not the softest?
I have 10 of them.
I found them to fit irregularly at times.
Well, it's because they're at Rennie's and they're only $4, Kurt.
Oh, I got mine for $2.99.
You got to get the real one.
A few years ago.
$3.99 or 3 for $10.
I have 2 out in my car. I was at the Rennie's in Wyndham. Where's your favorite Rennie's?
Wyndham. That's a big one.
That is a good one.
This one, no, I got this one in Wyndham. Another one I got in Camden.
Camden has a nice Rennie's.
No.
Yeah, no, it's a nice Rennie's.
It's all right for up there. Yeah, I guess.
Let's take a bit of the segment here to name all of the Rennie's locations in the state of Maine.
I'm very new to the Rennie's game.
What kind of survival gear do you take on your main adventure?
A knife.
I always take a Rennie's gift card. So there's one in Ellsworth.
Okay.
There's one in Camden. There's one in Bridgeton.
It's either in Rockport or Camden. It's right on the line.
It's in Camden. It's right near the
right before you get to the downtown.
It's right near the actual Camden National Bank location in Camden.
Yep.
And there's one in Topsom. That's a nice one. The Wyndham one's great. Bridgeton's a great one. If you've never been to that, Kurt, I tell you. And then Farmington has one. And I'm missing a pile of them. But Saco.
Pile of Rennie's.
Yeah, if anybody really wants to know where a lot of East Point's flashy gear is in their apparel and their sleek dressing, you could probably get most of it at Sam's Club, Martin's, and Rennie's.
Amen.
If you were to really.
I just love the Comfort Colors. They're classy. They can be casual, or you can put a layer over it, be a little less casual.
Well, it's great.
I think it's the pocket. That's what makes it.
Those pocket tees are great.
Oh, yeah. You could put your phone in it, and then your camera's facing forward. You can pretend.
Or your pocket Bible.
Yes, my Gideon Bible from Snow Camp, from Berea.
No,
the 10 Gideon Bibles I got.
Talk about Star Wars. Sounds like you're on the. Help me out, Isaac. You're on the planet, the snow planet of.
You can do it.
Of, starts with an E. No, Hoth.
Yeah,
an H. Here, talk about that.
You want me to
Bible.
put? You want me to?
Bible? Put that right in your pocket.
Okay.
What kind of Rennie's would Simon the Zealot go to?
I don't.
Wyndham.
Good answer.
Why is that?
It's a big Rennie's. It's like a super Rennie's. This doesn't fit very well.
Adam has a pocket Bible in his pocket tee, and I think he's ready to go.
That should be called a pocket Bible. That looks a little bit more voluminous.
It is all the 66 books piled into something that can fit in your pocket.
But you can't hardly even see the letters.
See, look, even the skinny jeans.
You can't even tell anything's in my pocket.
Yeah, now let's do a sword drill.
I can
pull that thing out.
The embossed
let's see the word of nice.
title on there with your jeans.
The embossed. You can read the embossed title through the skinny jeans. Yeah. So, Kurt, how was your harvesting today?
Harvesting day was good. It was interesting. Let's see, what did we find?
Sounds it.
Times we finished up with a young man named John. John was
the Baptist.
John was a Jehovah's Witness.
Oh,
was
not the Baptist?
No, he is.
John the Jehovah's Witness.
Is. Yeah.
Back when we talked to him, he was on. Maybe he's
one of the 144,000
by now. He was a rather passionate young man, and he had a lot to say. All that to say, and I was thinking about this the other day when I was reading. Each time I go through the Gospels and I see how it's either inferred or outright stated that Jesus is claiming to be God or God's Son. It's worthwhile,
it's pretty clear.
I think, to have it all written down
in pamphlet form.
Because just on a piece of paper, you can memorize it or just kind of have it down, because that's always that tends to be an issue with some folks. Not that we're going to win an argument, because Dale Carnegie says nobody wins an argument.
Great wisdom.
But we do.
You win an argument, you lose.
Yeah, we should know what we know well when chatting with folks. But it was good. Hope to see him again.
Yeah. What about business card sized little verse things?
For yourself. Yeah. Again.
Yeah, both.
Again, yeah. Yeah. My experience with giving somebody something to change their mind hasn't been terribly productive.
I thought you were just saying that you want to have a piece of paper with the stuff
that's
on
for
it.
Me. That's for me. So when we're chatting about it, I'll say, here's 12 places in the Gospels where it tells me that.
You get a tattoo on your hand of it.
Hence why you carry a pocket Bible like this.
I do have a pocket Bible. I had the New Testament.
I have one too. It's called my phone.
Wow, Adam, that's not as holy. So doesn't really.
It's the same words.
But that was good. And we had a chat with our friend. We were able to get a wheelchair too.
Oh, it's wonderful.
And then we, who was the other? Oh, we ran into an Angolan gentleman who's been here for 7 years, and he's a believer, and he's never heard a Mainer come by and talk to him about Jesus. So he was excited. So we've got his number. We're going to go back to his place and see what we can kick up.
And just kick it up, kind of like the dust.
Yeah,
see what
got some youngsters.
Great.
And we want to meet his wife and see what we can do to cause a fire in that particular neighborhood.
Oh,
that's great. Well,
yeah.
that's fun. That's fun.
Is.
So, hey,
just
Kurt,
for the record, it's not a physical fire.
Oh, it could be.
I hope not, because then you just confessed.
Yeah, no, we're not arsonists.
Right. That's why I'm saying for the record.
It's not a heat-driven combustion.
Right.
But it could be a physical fire of the Spirit of God coming down on us.
I just wanted to clarify.
Well, thanks for the clarification. It confused more people than it clarified.
I think it just confused you. Anyways.
Isaac, you still listening? Okay, Isaac's still here. Kurt, question for you. Talk to us about how Jesus being God in flesh, really does maybe shake up those that are of the Jehovah Witness or Mormon flavor, maybe even Quakers themselves. How does that? Yeah, when we wrestle with that reality, what starts breaking down in maybe some of their veins of faith, or even I mean, it's not exclusive to those three, but just those are kind of the true American religions that are kind of somewhat quasi Christian, and yet
some people would call. And forgive me, my Jehovah's Witnesses listeners out there, that would call that somewhat cult-like.
There probably aren't any yet.
Yeah, probably not yet. Yeah, I think we were chatting, Tom and I, by the way, the very same Tom who sits with a hammock and a beverage, listens to us. We were talking about whether if you're brought up in a particular way of thinking, it's hard to break that. And that's where we have to trust the power of the gospel and the power of the Holy Spirit to change minds. But we show love, and then we speak truth in love. And so that's kind of the way that has to be done. Because we were even chatting about that. So I could go brush up on all my Jehovah's Witness theology, for instance. But I think the important thing is to know what you know and who you know.
That's right.
For instance, just talking about, I want to have on my fingertips, because there were so many that I've just read as I went through Matthew about where Jesus is, just aligns himself with being God or God's Son. That I want to have. I want to have that. But we just got to be there for people.
Well, I'm actually going through a kind of a 7-week discussion with a friend of mine who really is wrestled with the reality: is Jesus the Son of the living God? Right. So we're choosing to go through the book of John, 3 chapters a week. But it's fun when you really immerse yourself in, especially in like one sitting, to read 3 chapters
and looking
of
for
a gospel
something in particular.
And really, I think it's in, well, I guess it would have been, 7, 8, 9, or maybe it's on the other side, 9, 10, 11, 9, 10, 11, maybe is where it was. But just there was kind of a discourse that Jesus, through some of those I am statements, is coming up to the very, you can just feel the tension in his conversations with the Pharisees while he's also encountering new followers, new believers, where they said, you're not even 30 years old yet. How have you ever seen Abraham? Because Jesus said Abraham was excited at the thought of me coming.
Very passage I showed John.
Sure, right. Yeah. And then, and in that critical moment is where he is either Lord, lunatic, or liar. There's really no other option. Either he was Lord and that was the truth. He was just flat out lying, or he believed he was, but he wasn't, so he's a lunatic. And I think a lot of folks, they don't handle the gravity of that statement, I think, in their own hearts and minds.
How did the inquisitors handle the gravity of that statement when he said, before Abraham was, I am?
They had rocks in their hands shortly after.
Throw them, There's a big deal to them.
Yeah, they weren't very happy. Yeah. And so that's where I even had a conversation with a gentleman, really sweet guy, older gentleman, done a lot of good works in the region with nonprofits, and he wanted to be a part of an organization I was a part of, and yet we kind of had a statement of faith, core tenets of Christianity. And he said, well, I'm a Christian. I just don't believe that Jesus was God. And I said, I think by very definition, that wouldn't be Christianity. And we went back and forth in good, respectful discourse, but really couldn't find middle ground, because he didn't have the same belief that the fact that Jesus was God in flesh walking here was the whole reason in the beginning, in the genesis of the gospel. His was more enlightenment, hearing and sensing the Spirit of God moving, and it would lead him to good service, good acts, but not evangelism, or he'd call it proselytizing. So he was of the Quaker faith, and so anyways, it's really interesting because what you typically think is, these people are they're pent up with rage, they're going to be confrontational, or they're going to have their arguments and their case closed, but sometimes it's very much a discussion.
No, it's fun to have that. I mean, it's funny when you mentioned that, it's just kind of a revelation for me of the simplicity where Jesus says in John 17, he's praying to the Father, and he says, I want them to be with me where I am.
Yep.
So that was Jesus' wish, and he self-fulfilled that wish. He came down and got us. Yep. And then he returned to the right hand of the Father. And so no man can elevate to that level. No man can live a perfect life,
right?
And then do all the things that he did. So it's just, you have to be trying not to believe.
What do you think, Adam?
Wake up, Adam.
I'm awake.
Okay.
I'm listening. I'm
right.
very engaged.
Okay.
What do I think about it? Well, he didn't. Well, I think one thing that it just makes me think of. Wow, Keenan, thanks for that. One thing that sticks out to me, or that comes to mind, is something I learned in one of my, I think it was freshman year college classes. We had to take spiritual formation, just as part of Cedarville's stuff. And it was either that, or maybe it was my discipleship class, but we learned that, and I had never thought of this before, but like the definition of the word Christian, or not necessarily the definition, but like that word back a while ago when they would put IANS at the end of a word, it would mean like a little, whatever was at the beginning of the word. So Christians were just little Christs, and that was like the goal, was to be like Christ, which was like, to me was, I mean, it's so simple, but I feel like it helps to understand like what a Christian is. Not necessarily just somebody who thinks that maybe Jesus was a real person, but he wasn't God, but someone that like...
That's right.
actually emulate him.
Right.
It's interesting that the etymology of that word, that it came out of Antioch, which apparently, from my understanding, was very segmented, the city, big city, and it had all its little groups, and they didn't know what to call those people and so they named them Christians, and it was sort of a derisive term of these kind of fruitcakes that they saw walking around.
Mm-hmm.
And now we get to wear that as a badge
Embrace
of honor.
it. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Right here in the 207 Pine Tree State.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Well, it's quite a journey as you get to meet other people and hear this kind of goes to your point, Kurt, and I think this is the great intellectual. Let me get my thoughts straight. This is a great intellectual barrier that I think the church faces here in American culture, that even especially in New England or the Northeast, that we don't typically recognize when it comes to reaching a region. And it's that people have these deep family traditions and these kind of thoughts that have been built upon thoughts that have been built upon thoughts and knowledge based on that. At the very core of it, it was faulty, but they've built their entire lives on something that is just, it's not true, or it's half true. And the idea of breaking that all down mentally and rewiring your entire worldview is either exhausting or frightening.
Right.
And people just, they choose, even if it maybe they feel like it is a little true, they just choose, hey, it's not worth it.
And it's comforting to stay where you are. So you have traditions, which was the issue with the Pharisees, and they mixed their traditions with truth,
right?
Which is, for instance, what I ran into with my friend John here a while ago. And so when Jesus says, you don't pour new wine into an old wineskin, and so we can pour all that stuff into these folks, but unless the Spirit is involved in changing them,
right?
Nothing's going to happen.
Nothing's going to happen. And that's what's, because I have a lot of good friends that aren't Christians. They tell you they are, but then once we have a conversation, and again, non-combative, they realize, oh yeah, I guess I'm not. And then what they say is, well, that's all right, right? And it's, so it doesn't get to the point where it's like, hey, this is life or death. But in the discussion, they realize, oh, I guess I'm not a Christian. But that reality or revelation of, oh, I guess I misunderstood that, doesn't actually take them to a place of saying, well, if I'm not, and this is true, what then? Right? And I think that's where we as believers don't, the note card, the pocket Bible, all those things are important. But I think we have to, kind of like Peter says, we have to give an account for the hope that we have within us. And I think we have to be ready for that. And in this culture, it is so much a personal testimony. I've experienced Jesus, and this is why I believe in him. This is why we use this term Christian. I personally like follower.
Yeah, I
way
do
better
too, because Christian's been muddled over the years.
It has, and so it's been politicized and it's been categorized, and it's on every checkbox of.
Kind of has a negative connotation these days.
Even if it does, I agree with you. But it's become a cultural norm, regardless of negative or positive connotation. It's a cultural norm of just checking the box and sitting, and that's me.
They really didn't call themselves that. They called themselves the way.
The way.
Other people called them Christians.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I had something on my mind. It was scintillating. It flitted away from me like a monarch butterfly.
Wow.
Does that happen to you often these days, Kurt?
Probably more than it used to. Yeah, I would say.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, I would say that.
Kurt, what's it like to...
Growing old?
That's what I thought he was going
to say. I've lived these years, and I'll say this, and don't take this as offense, but I think this is a good riveting discussion for to constantly encounter your morality more and more as you do get older, right? I think the limitations are felt more than when you're,
Well, Adam, explain to me what he means by that I'm encountering my morality because of my limitations.
I think he's trying to
that I have no more desires.
Yeah. No more physical ability.
No, you just
I can't consummate my desires. Is that what it is? I will say.
What segment is this?
I was just trying to figure it out.
This is Papa's Corner.
Yeah,
I
this
will
is
say that
forehead vein popping corn.
that
segment.
with age and presence,
Yes.
the more that you continue to go in front of Jesus, you start to understand what holiness means, in that it's an inside-out deal, in that you don't want to bring your junk into the presence of God.
Thank you.
And so it becomes easier and easier to do that, and you are at more and more rest, for sure.
So I didn't know what you were going to say, but I'm glad that's where you went with it, and you didn't throw your microphone at me, because I think I just recognized that in the 4 years we've known each other, but even more that I think it's this ties back to followers of the way and our traditions, is like probably as you get older in years and you recognize, hey, I'm not getting any faster, more energetic, like it's a paradigm shift where you realize this is more about, to your point,
there's less interference.
Inside out going, I just can't fabricate this, and I have to wrestle with who am I really outside of this body and this biological world I live in.
Yeah, what
is reality?
I'm no longer distracted by a potential NBA contract that I might have.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's.
I can honestly say I've never been distracted by that.
Well, you don't know life then.
Sorry.
I irritate my wife. So, however, you have different levels. So I'll go out for a particular run that I have a loop, and when I beat my last time, I'll come in and I'll tell honey, I just got a world record, and then she chides me. And I say, nobody in the whole world has run this route in this time, and she doesn't appreciate that.
I'm gonna get
well be true.
Yeah. I'm gonna get the map from her.
Yeah. Good luck.
I bet I couldn't beat you.
Yeah. Well,
do you run it in those sandals you're wearing right now?
Oh, especially light.
How long is
like
the loop?
In my huaraches. What's that?
What was that?
I can tell you what my time was last time, which
the
was
last
about
word
3 days ago. My huaraches.
Yes, what's that mean?
This is the type of sandals that I have.
Oh.
This is what Jesus would wear.
Kurt wears
I doubt
these
it.
crazy sandals.
You wore Birkenstocks.
No.
I think they were the waterproof Keens.
2806. 2806. Remember that one?
2806.
Yeah.
How far mileage?
I don't care about that.
What? But it's a
distance.
1.5 miles.
It's a distance.
28 minutes.
And
I can walk faster than that.
I was doing like 35s when I started out.
Yeah, it's because he's beaten down all of the issues. He's gone out and cleared the trail and paved it.
Yeah. They put a conveyor belt on it too.
Just feel
magic
empowered.
carpets.
Yeah, like in the airport.
There's a vehicle halfway.
Gotta set goals for yourself.
So Kurt, just to affirm you and your running in sandals, which I quite honestly, I don't know how you do that. I feel like it would blow my foot open between my big toe and the next one. But we have a neighbor who here in about 10 minutes probably is gonna blaze right out of the front door of his apartment, and he's gonna go for a run in those things.
Oh yeah.
And then he comes cruising right back, and wonderful form. He looks like a Navajo running through the woods.
Does he run on the roads or some trails?
I think he runs on the road or on the side of the road in the sand.
You can do that too. The only issue with these on trails is you get a little stuff.
Yeah, no,
and
you
got to empty it out.
He's very much on the existing
Yeah.
byways and highways of mankind.
Because I have bionic hips, I try to stay off of the pavement.
Really, I would think they would lend themselves to be able to do the pavement better.
Well, it's interesting when you look at the biology of a hip replacement, and they make a little hole in the top of your femur after they chop the top of your femur off, and then they put this spike of a prosthetic in it to the point where it's not unlike splitting wood if you had too much pressure coming down on it. So picture your femur splitting like
there's like a
piece of
wedge in your
firewood.
bone.
Yeah. Ooh, that
You
gives
know,
me the willies.
you
I hated that.
you look at medicine, and this is just such a rabbit trail, but as an engineer, you look at medicine, which my degree was considered a pre-med degree, so I could have stepped into that realm, which I didn't. But you really look at sometimes the what's the word I'm trying to think of?
No idea.
almost like a caveman-esque approach to medicine even today. To your point, let's take this guy's femur, disconnect it from this bad hip, cut the top off with really they use a glorified handsaw, right? And then use a hammer to drive in a titanium spike.
Yeah.
And insert it into this new...
And do it to me twice.
Makes perfect sense.
And again, I think it's great, but very rudimentary.
Yeah.
And it's glorified plumbing with microscopes and glorified wood splitting with medical hammers.
Yeah.
Kind of
heard
crazy.
it here first.
So
Deep stuff.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That when I was in college, watching the cross country guys run, they some of them would race barefoot. Completely barefoot.
Oh yeah.
That was crazy.
Because you something could cut right through there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
were they on grass? Were they on
All
the track?
over the place.
All over the place. Yeah.
I mean, it's the race.
College country.
Oh, it was the race.
10K or
all the
so,
time, but they would race barefoot too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were saying they were like race each other around the dorms barefoot, but you're saying they would be in the
cross country
in the college. I don't know.
I said cross country races.
You would actually go watch a cross country race?
I have before.
Why?
My brother was in a
Oh,
on the
okay.
team. That was before I was a student there.
Why wouldn't he watch one anyhow? I watch them all the time on YouTube, track, cross country.
No, I
You
didn't.
watch cross country races on YouTube, Kurt?
Yeah.
No, they're
Oh,
boring
track.
to
I could
watch.
tell you who's heading up different occasions and tracks so far.
Track is less boring to watch. Cross country
That's
is
right
like...
there.
Cross country, you literally have
see them
2
for-
minutes.
You see him about one, one.
I
When
felt
you-
bad for my parents came to every race, but they would see me for like...
Oh, you ran in cross country.
That's because
did.
That's because
Oh.
they loved you.
I'm sorry about
Not
that.
at college.
Yeah, still sorry.
What school did you run for?
Falmouth.
You were a yachtsman.
I was no
Yeah.
longer the yachtsman.
Oh, what is it?
The navigators.
Oh, no, what was wrong with yachtsman?
Nothing.
It's got men at the end
It's
of it or something?
Hey,
It
easy,
was too
Kurt. Easy, Kurt.
pretentious.
Okay.
Yeah, it was. I will say that.
Pretentious.
I will say
I like
that.
that.
It was.
I thought, but that was the mystique
Yeah,
of it.
but-
yeah.
It's so pretentious that you want to have it.
Very, very pretentious.
Yeah.
I want to have
Yarmouth
my
as well.
school. I want to be the oligarch at my next school.
Okay.
Yeah,
You want
nice.
to be the
Yeah, I wanna
oligarch, or
be
you want
the-
the mascot
I want
to be?
the whatever South Portland oligarchs.
You're
That's
going
pretentious as well.
not as much as yachtsman when you're from Falmouth.
I love it.
I didn't.
It's almost. I mean, it's almost as bad as being the Foresiders.
I don't know what that means.
Falmouth Foreside?
went right over my head.
Even like Falmouth Foreside, like
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay.
which is it being like, oh, we're the Foresiders.
Oh, you'd have to.
Like,
You'd
you
have
got
to
four
be.
sides.
You have to know what's going on in your region then,
Because you're
Yeah.
a square.
Yeah.
If you're a four-sider.
I think FORE.
Yeah. I was thinking the number.
Yeah, I get it.
Sorry.
It's like, is that some sort of...
You remember the blockheads from Gumby? You guys probably don't.
Block-
Yeah, yeah, of
Do
course
you?
I do. I
Okay,
remember
alright.
Gumby.
They had four sides.
Yeah, Adam doesn't remember. Adam probably grew up on that SpongeBob.
That SpongeBob, not this SpongeBob.
More minutia discernment there. Just find what he can. Take out his little knife and cut it up. It's good.
That's the sound of a knife.
Were you a SpongeBob fan?
Am a SpongeBob fan. Not past tense. Especially in college. It was
Whatsoever.
funniest in college. My roommate and I would watch it.
He's got square pants, you know.
I did know that. They're not really square, I guess.
You know what my favorite episode was?
Since they're
Was
three-dimensional.
the Flying Dutchman and SpongeBob and Patrick on the ship with the Flying Dutchman, and he
Which
said,
one? There's a lot.
well, this is the one where he captures them and they actually go on the sail with him,
Yeah.
and he asks them to howl to the moon with
Yeah.
them, and
Yeah.
and he starts howling, and Patrick goes, "Leel, leel, leel."
Yeah.
And it's pretty funny.
It is.
Yeah,
It is pretty funny.
that was a good episode.
That was a nice.
Is that
That's a nice trailer. we
a
went
nice
down. Yeah,
conclusion?
appreciate it. Yeah, that was good.
Is that the conclusion? Do you guys?
Well, I don't think it can get any better than that.
Do you have anything
Yeah.
else to add to that?
Yeah, I don't.
What's your favorite SpongeBob moment?
SpongeBob moment. I always was fascinated by the squirrel with the globe over her head.
Yes.
And she just kind of walked around. And
I think that was a bowl, not a globe.
Yeah, because she's breathes air because she's a squirrel.
Yeah, I know, but did you see the problem?
It's like a reverse fish.
Yeah, I know, but there was no air going in. But
Yeah.
Water, Sandy.
I
Water,
appreciated it. Yeah.
Her name was Sandy the squirrel.
Yeah.
Sandy Cheeks.
How about
I wasn't. I just would pass by and I'd see SpongeBob.
Yeah. Oh, very, very funny.
How about the
Not
idea
newer
of a
ones.
restaurant being called the Krusty Krab?
Crab, yeah.
That's awesome. You, I think it was you. You killed Lucy and I a couple weeks, like a month or two ago, because you were trying to think of what the new name for what's at the Tilted Kilt. What was the Tilted Kilt?
Yeah.
Which I believe
Shaken
is the
crab.
Shaken Crab.
Shaken
Like
crab.
you called it the Krusty Krab. And
Have you been into the Shaken
Oh,
Crab?
Oh, you want to
No.
hear a funny story about that? We had people in town last week representing some organizations, and they didn't know this region very well in terms of its eats. And so they wanted to go have seafood. And so I kind of gave them some options in downtown Portland, or even locally. They could have got a pretty good haddock dinner here in South Portland, and shared some of the places down Scarborough. And so I get in the car and I take off because I got to get home to the kids. I get a phone call from them. They said, "Hey, Keenan, you didn't tell us about this local place called the Shaken Crab." And I said, "Oh, I don't think that's local seafood that you're looking for." And it literally said the Shaken Crab.
it's like in like Times New Roman
Well,
font on the side of the building.
And it also said Bayou Cuisine. And so it had nothing to do with Maine seafood. It was like,
Gators.
yeah, it's funny how
It's like New Orleans.
the Shaken
food.
Crab. So somebody, one of
Luke
our listeners
Lobster.
would love if you would take us up on the invitation to go try the Shaken Crab and leave us a review.
Yeah, let us know because I don't want to go.
I like the idea of a shake. Right?
Okay.
Yeah.
A shake made with crab meat.
Yeah, no.
No,
doesn't
never
do it for
mind.
me now.
How about a shake from Papa's, Kurt?
Shake from Papa's? Yeah. No, that'd
What's
be good.
Papa's?
I've had that. Papa's out in Standish on Route 25.
Okay.
Yeah. Bring the family.
Not to be confused.
Just
with
over
Popeyes.
just over the Gorham border.
It's across
Yeah,
the
if you went to
pond,
Popeyes,
as
you'd
they
never
say.
get served anyway, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, yeah.
You'd
be
never
there
you'd
for
never
an
make it
hour.
through the drive-through.
Yep.
And when you get to the drive-thru, somebody would go, "Hello, welcome to Popeyes."
Leave.
And you'd say, "Hey, can I add a chicken sandwich?" And they'd say, "We're all out, sir." Can I get a 6-piece chicken finger? We're all out of that too, sir. What do you guys have? I think we're out. And then that's
What do you
happened
have?
twice to me.
What do you have? We're out.
I think we've
I think we've
satiated
overstayed.
the appetite of our listeners.
I think
today.
we've overstayed our welcome
so.
in our listeners' ears.
Yeah.
So there you have it. Don't let your traditions get in the way of what Jesus wants to do, because
Boom.
he is God in flesh.
Boom.
No doubt.
Enough said. Thanks, guys, for listening. Let us know. We want to know where you're listening from, just like our friend Tom in his hammock.
And what your posture is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Physical and spiritual posture. We will see you next week.